Hey everybody, it's Professor Parish, and this is my second to last video this semester. I hope that everybody is doing well. I've looked at a few of the annotated bibliographies so far, and they are looking great from what I've seen. So if you've not got a chance to go and see the presentation and video that I've done on our annotated bibliographies, please go ahead and do that. But I wanted to go ahead and make this video and put it out there for you all because next week is a big week for us. It's the week before finals, so classes are wrapping up. It's our last full week of class. So I wanted to make this video to sort of talk about all of the things that are going to be due the next couple of weeks and just kind of go over and explain them, because I know finals week can be overwhelming. You've got other classes, other things going on. So hopefully this video will help put everything in line and give you an idea about what's going to be due these next couple of weeks. All right, so as always, if you have questions, just feel free to email me, but we will go through. I have our class in student mode, so I'm viewing it the way that you would view it. And so if you've not looked at this link yet, please do so. This talks about our annotated bibliography assignment, which is the only assignment due in week 16. And this YouTube link will give you a link to my video. As always, if you've had questions about MLA formatting, things like that, please review my notes, review your resources. They are shown not only in our handout section, but also I talk about them in the video. So if you've not done the annotated bibliography assignment, please make sure to do that this weekend. It's worth a lot of points. It is our only extra credit opportunity. The assignment is still, you have to do the assignment for points, but there's extra credit attached onto it. And if you watch the video, I go over what that extra credit is. So please do that. As for our last 2 weeks, so if I go to course content here, where our assignments are always listed, and I'm going to go down to, and paper 3, if you're going to revise that, it's due this weekend as well. But week 17 starts Monday, December 3rd. This is our last full week of class before finals week. So what is due is we're going to do something a little bit different than our normal discussion forum. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. But basically, as I've told you in the past, your papers 1, 2, and 3, you've had the opportunity to revise them for a higher grade. Paper 4, since they're due the night the class ends, you don't get to revise them. So instead, what I've decided to do, and I've done this in many semesters past, and it's worked out very well, is that you all submit your draft, what you have so far, of paper 4, to our discussion forum, and then your peers, your classmates, get to not only read your work, but also give you feedback, and I get to give you feedback as well. So it's sort of like a pre-revision before you turn in that final draft. It will allow me to give you any pointers before finals week, to correct any MLA citation errors before finals week, and to offer you any suggestions as you move forward to our last week of class. So it's very, very helpful. As you will note, as all of our posts have been, the initial post is due Friday, December 7th. I would highly encourage you to make sure that you keep that date with turning your draft in. I put this note on here saying that the sooner you submit it, the sooner I give you feedback. That is very true, especially this coming week. If December 3rd through December 6th you turn in your paper early, I will definitely be able to look at it probably that day and give you feedback early on. So I would encourage you to do that. I would not procrastinate on turning in this draft. Now, as far as page length, because that question is always asked, and as I've told you all before, I don't like to give a number to something because I feel that most students will, if I say 2 pages, you're going to write 2 pages. Some of you will go above and beyond, but I will put a page number to this draft with a little asterisk by it. So for your draft, it's the final draft that's due by December 10th should be at least 8 pages, not including your works cited page. So that's a key thing there. But for this draft, for this assignment right here, I would like you to have at least halfway finished. So at least 4 pages. That is my goal. If you do not submit at least 4 pages, I will take points off of this assignment because you've had 2.5, 3 weeks to work on this at this point. So you should have quite a bit done. especially with your outline being done. You've got a format, you've got a structure. My asterisk though that I would advise to you all is this piece of advice. The more you put on your draft, the more that myself and your peers can give back to you in terms of advice. So I've had students in the past that turned in 2 or 3 pages. That's all they had. I can give you some feedback, but it's not going to be very much because your 2 to 3 pages is probably going to cover your introduction, maybe your first couple of points. So that leaves you with 6 more pages where you won't get my help. So if you're really concerned about grammar, if you're concerned about works cited and in-text citations, try to get as much of your draft completed as possible because that's just more content I can give you feedback on compared to, 1 page. I'm like, okay, you're kind of on your own. And your peers are not going to have as much feedback as well. So the moral of this tangent here is just try to get as much of your draft done as possible. But obviously, if you're not ready, if you don't have the final draft completed, at least 4 pages. At least get to the halfway mark. Or at least do a rough version of your outline where you've got content in every section. However you want to do it, just have at least 4 pages in order to get full credit on that part of the assignment. Now, you do have to review at least 2 of your students' drafts. You can review as many as you want. And I've had a lot of students that have gone through and reviewed more than 2 because they were really interested in what their fellow students wrote about. And that's awesome. But at least 2 drafts. And when you peer review, this is going to be worth, the same amount as our forum, but I'm going to look a little bit more critically at your responses. If you just write, oh, that was good, that doesn't really help your fellow student out. Because then they're like, okay, is it perfect then? Am I good to go? There's usually always, even in my own writing, in your teacher's writings, there's always something that can be improved. So a good response would be to say, hey, I love this about your paper, and tell specifically what that is. But then say, if you could change one thing, maybe add something about this point. Or don't forget your in-text citations. Or, hey, your citation on your works cited page wasn't in proper MLA. Here's how you should do it. Give them some feedback that is constructive that they can go off of and use to improve their paper. All right, so that peer review draft is going to be due on Friday the 7th, and then your 2 responses are going to be due by December 9th. And I will go through all of your papers and give you feedback. I know in the past, if you have submitted your draft late, I usually don't respond to it. Your post, I mean, but in this case, this is a very important assignment. So even if you can't submit your draft by Friday, I'm going to take points off, but I'd rather you get some feedback than nothing. So if for some reason Friday you can't get the draft in by that date, please submit it Saturday or Sunday, because I do want to give you feedback and give you some kind of revision notes to do before your final draft is due. All right. Also this next week, you'll have your MLA exam. Your MLA exam will go over how to cite things in MLA properly and how to do in-text citations. So by this point, we've done an MLA review, we have done a scavenger hunt, and you've done your annotated bibliography. So that's 3 assignments that you should have feedback from me on. You also have your Cengage handbook that you can use, your MLA citation presentation, and my video. So you've got 6 different resources there to go through to help you on this exam. So I'm hoping that everybody gets an A on it. Usually it depends on the class, but I've never had a class get in where everyone got an A, and so I hope that you do, because you should. You have enough resources out there. And I can't help you on the exam, but you can always ask questions about things in general leading up to it. All right. So those are the 2 things due next week. I know this week we only have the annotated bibliography due. Next week we just have your paper draft along with your 2 peer comments and then your MLA exam. And that is it. And then I've put on here, and you can find these 2 right here. I do have to review the terms from your textbook. I would hold on. After this week, you can take your Cengage handbook. You can go ahead and turn that back in and sell it back. If you've bought it from the bookstore here, after this coming week, after December 9th, you can definitely take that back. I would, if I were you, hold on to this book. And I say that because this book you may need for the final exam. I know I put on here review terms from our textbook, but you may need to reference back to this during your final exam. And I have actually had students that didn't do well on the final exam, and I was like, why didn't you do well? And they're like, well, I sold my textbook back before the final. I was like, you need it. So just hang on to it for a little bit, and then after you take your final exam, then you can sell it back or hold on to it for future future friends and family to use. And then obviously, whatever feedback you get on paper 4, make those changes and revisions for Friday when the paper is due. And that brings us to finals week, which begins on December 10th, that Monday. Finals week for every class at SIC ends on December 14th, which is a Friday. This is our only week where you do not have Saturday and Sunday to work on things. And I want to be very, I'm going to scroll up here so maybe you can see. Okay, my little window here is blocking this text, but you can see it online. Basically, your final exam will open up. This week will not open until around the 10th. I can't open the week early, unfortunately, so I may be able to open it up Sunday night. So if some of you want to start on things Sunday, you can. But I can't open the site any earlier than that. Your final exam will be over fiction, drama, and poetry. Your MLA exam is up here, so no worries. You won't have any MLA on the or grammar on the final. It will all be things from our fiction, drama, and poetry tests. So that's why I'd like you to keep your textbook. And then your final draft will be due by Friday, December 14th. I have had a student every semester since I have been teaching do this, and so I'm going to warn you all now. I'm going to give you the full prep. This line is extremely important. After December 14th, after that Friday at 11:55 p.m., our class is shut down. It's over. It is the end. You cannot submit anything past that date. Anything. 11:56? No. Midnight? No. 2 a.m. the next morning? No. It's done. The class is over. We are no longer student and instructor past that point. So I have a student do this every year, and it makes me very sad and upset because I have warned you all. There's nothing I can do about it. So if you do not submit something by 11:55 p.m. on Friday, December 14th, you will get a 0 for it. Or if you try to start the final exam December 14th at 11:50 p.m. and 5 minutes in it shuts you off from the test, it will only accept what you've already finished. Everything else will be a 0. So please, I am begging you, do not wait until the last minute to submit these 2 assignments. If your computer messes up, I'm sorry. If your computer crashes at 11:50, I'm sorry. You've got to go find another computer or submit it on your phone, or my point is there is no excuse that will work shy of you being near death. That's it. And I want to just say that because it happens every semester and it makes me sad. So please do not wait until the last minute to turn these in. You have the entire week. I know that some students would like to take their time on correcting the final draft and finish working on it. I understand that, but at least take the final exam a few days early, just so you've got that out of the way. It's done, and that way if your computer does crash or if you have an issue, then you have a couple of days to get things set up and taken care of. You may have to come out to the college and do it. I don't know. My point is, don't wait till the last minute, please. Because I want you all to get a good grade on this final exam. It's worth 100 points. Your final paper is worth 200 points. That's 300 points. It's nearly a fourth of the class tied up in this last week. I'm not good with math, so I might be off on that. But it's a big number, and I don't want you all to miss out on that because of procrastination or anything associated with that, okay? I know I've hammered that hard, but I'm telling you all, it happens every semester, and I don't know any other way to combat it. So that is finals week. and then this is the week before, and then your annotated bibliography is due this Sunday. As far as the peer review of the paper goes, if you go to the discussion forum, I know I said I'd show you that, it is our last folder is going to be next week, the peer review discussion forum. It shows, if I can pull it up here, it shows basically that you have until December 7th to put your draft up here. You should, in your post, describe what the topic of your paper is so your classmates know what you're writing about. Ask any questions you have with the draft. So if you're worried about grammar, or if you're not sure if this point sounds right, or if there's something about the paper you're like, I want to ask my classmates and my instructor about, just put that in your post. And then also what you would like to be critiqued about. Just say, you know, hey, and this is a safe space because we are all college students, we are all mature adults, we are all respectful of each other. So obviously it takes a lot of courage for you to write something and put it out there in the space for other people to read. And I want everybody to know that when you do constructive criticism, it's to make the writer better. There should not be any belittling comments, there should not be any harsh criticisms where you're telling somebody they can't write or something like that. I unfortunately have to tell you these things because they've happened in the past. But I know that this class is a good class. I know you all are mature and that you guys have done a really great job in the discussion forum up until this point. So I know that I don't have to worry about you all, but I do want to bring it out there because I know some people get anxious when they put their writing out for others to read. This is a safe space. All of your topics are wonderful, and I've been excited to read about them for the last 3 weeks since you posted your topic and thesis. So just know that this should be a celebration event. This forum should be a celebration of your writing. It should be a time that you can kind of show off what you've done because you all have really awesome topics. And I'm excited to see all of you in class interact with each other. Some of you are doing the same topic, which is exciting because I hope you peer review each other's paper to see what's similar and what's different. I'm really excited about that, but it's a chance for you to show off. And this is kind of your big project that you've been building on all semester. And so I want you to kind of relish in that and enjoy it. And then obviously when you create a post, you should submit your draft in RTF, DOC, or PDF format only. Please don't do any pages, don't do any OST, which is the open source word, don't do any Google Doc shares, don't do things like that because they're just hard for people to open. And then the last thing that you want to do is to attach a document that nobody can read. All right, so if you've never attached a document before, you just go to Add Post. I'm going to click my little Add Post here. Oh, can I not be in emulation mode? Okay, I'm going to go back to regular view here then. All right, so on here, if I want to add a post, and I could add it here, what I would do to attach my paper is that you can do either choosing from your computer or choosing a file. So in all honesty, choosing from your computer might be easier. So if I choose from my computer, I will do this browse feature, and it lets me choose from my computer. I've got a lot of files on there. So I can choose whichever file I want. I'll just attach this one in one. All right, when I find the document I want, I'm going to put open. Okay. Now, some students will do submit now. Don't do that. There's one extra step. Once it says the file that you've selected, you need to click this add button. Now it will show a blue link, and that means that your paper is attached to the discussion post. You can delete it if you accidentally attach the wrong file. You can just press this trash can and it'll ask if you want to delete it, and you can click OK, and you'll go right back to where you were. But just remember that whenever you do this, you need to do the add button in order to have it saved onto your forum post. Okay, and then once you've done that, you can write in here and then click submit. All right, but that's the process of how you attach your paper. And just make sure if you're doing Google Docs, for example, I'm going to pull up Google Docs. I'll kind of show you guys an example. So I have this spring dual credit paper, and if I want to download, I go to download as and do Word document here. And then it will actually download, and then I can save it. I can save and upload it from my computer then. Make sense? So that's kind of another way around it too. If you use Google Docs a lot, you can download as and save it, and that helps out as well. And I know I put PDF on here. I would really encourage you to please try and do a rich text format, RTF, or a Word document, DOC or DOCX. Either one will work. PDFs are fine. The only problem is I cannot edit them. So I can tell you what to change about your paper. I can give you suggestions, but as far as grammar and citation errors go, I can't physically edit the document. And that does become problematic, especially in terms of grammar, because otherwise I've got to make a comment on the PDF for every grammar error, and that gets a little old. So this is just the discussion forum, how it's set up, and it's our last discussion forum, and then that's pretty much it. Pretty exciting. So yeah. That is the next couple weeks in this class. I'm going to do one more video, probably the week of finals, just to kind of remind everybody. I know I've reminded you all so much about the deadlines, but to kind of remind you all and give you some last minute words for the end of the semester. But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to email me, call me. I will be in my office in the afternoon all next week. Next week I'll be in my office all afternoon, so if you get to stop by in the afternoon to ask a question, that'd be great. I will be in and out in the mornings, but if you email me ahead of time, I can see if I'll be in when you can come in and see me. But otherwise, I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope you guys do great on the annotated bibliography. If you've not turned it in, if you have, kudos to you all. And just know that I'm really excited to read your papers and see what you all write about. Okay? Talk to you all soon.